In a career spanning nearly 2 decades, Al Harrington became a standout player on the basketball court. Since retiring from the NBA, he's become an early entrepreneur in cannabis. He's developed his own brand of medical marijuana and further spin-offs in the sector. Now he's taking his know-how to help other investors make the leap into the fast-growing industry.
There are these moments in life when you know when you're headed towards the NBA. In your case, when did you know that the entrepreneur that was growing inside of you was ready to go?
You know what? I think that I've always loved money. You know what I mean? Like even as a kid, like I shoveled driveways. I worked in the grocery store bagging bags. I always wanted to have money in my pocket. You know what I mean? And then, you get to the NBA and you make so much of it. You know what I'm saying? You try to figure out how can I continue to do this? You know what I mean? And a lot of times, that's kind of the downfall of a lot of athletes and stuff because they don't know what's next and they don't realize that, there is a real world out there. I tell people all the time, we're in the NBA, we live in like make-believe world. You know what I'm saying? And then there's a real world out there. And for me, I was able to find cannabis. I always say cannabis found me because, I grew up thinking that cannabis was a gateway drug. I didn't think that it did any good for anyone. The way I was taught, I remember the Dare Cat and different things like that where, you just wanted to stay as far away from drugs as possible. So, that's how I was. And, when I seen, the benefits of cannabis on my grandmother, it obviously changed my perception forever. And, it inspired me to invest in the space.
And, when you think about being an entrepreneur, being in business versus being on the NBA court, are there parallels? Are there parallels between business and basketball?
I think so, man. It's hard work and dedication. Like you're not going to get anything. Nothing's going to be given to you. You know what I mean? There's select few people that are lucky like that. But, especially where I come from and the people that I've been around, the people, like I said, that inspired me, I've always, the one common denominator was that everybody worked extremely hard at what they were doing. And that's the reason why they had success. So, the same way I put in my 10,000 hours to master my craft as an NBA player or as a professional athlete, I have to do the same thing in this industry of cannabis. And I'm working towards those 10,000 hours.
So when you're looking for those opportunities, for example, teaming up with a player like Tidal, what goes into it? What are you looking for when you're exploring these opportunities? Well,
the one thing that, I have expertise in is that the fact that, I've been being pitched deals and stuff for my entire life. One of my partners is always saying that, and it's very true. So I've now been able to figure out who are good people and who aren't. You know what I'm saying? I've learned how to do my own due diligence. You know what I'm saying? And obviously the first thing is you have to like someone. You know what I'm saying? The person that you're gonna have to be working with every day is almost like marriage. You have to like your spouse. You have to like your business partners because it pretty much is a marriage when you get into those type of scenarios. And what I was able to do with the people at Tidal was, Paul Rosen, I had met him a couple times and next thing you know, we just start running into each other at the most random places. And every time we started, we would talk. And a lot of times, we had a lot of the same vision, you know what I mean? So it just made a lot of sense for me to join their advisory board and, things have been really good.
So this whole evolution of cannabis and to your point, even through your family experience, changing your own perception, you've played a role in many ways as an advocate, including in the conversations you were having with the league itself, with the NBA, about how you should be thinking about cannabis and the future of cannabis.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because at the end of the day, we know now that cannabis is medicine. And it's an alternative way for guys to medicate themselves. Right now, with the opioid crisis and different things like that, it's very real. And, they prescribe us stuff so irresponsibly. And then when a guy get hooked on something, it's like shame on the player. But what about the doctor that just gave him 3 refills of 120 pills when he was only going through an injury that only was supposed to last for 2 weeks? You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we now have enough data that we should have real conversations with these professional leagues. And we should talk about players being able to use cannabis for recovery, for pain management, anything that they're dealing with. We have players now that are coming out with the mental illnesses and different things like that, deal with anxiety and stuff. So if cannabis can help with that, why not allow the players to use it?